I like movies with impossible things going on in it. Movies like Limitless, movies like Lucy, movies like, not just even movies, Marvel Comics, like anything X-Men. I love things where things seem impossible, but the impossible is possible. And the thing I love about these movies, Matrix and all different types of movies, is you can't tell people what they can't do. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you still got people who put limits on you, put shackles on you, tell you to stop doing what it is that you're doing because you can't do that, even though you're already doing it. You were born with gifts, things inside of you. Things happen. You came into encounters with things that gave you limitless powers. And we don't like to call it powers, but gave you abilities. And it is God. You came in contact with your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and you want to walk like Christ and talk like Christ and see like Christ and talk like Christ and preach like Christ and live like Christ and do all of these things that people think is impossible. Or you were born with gifts. You could see beyond and hear far and hear near and walk into a room and know everything that somebody just said about you, your family, the family pet, the house you live in, and everything. Done heard the whole conversation when you wasn't even there when they said the conversation. You can speak some things that you know that you don't have the knowledge of, but you have the knowledge of it because God gives you the knowledge of it. So people think that there's something wrong with you. You're an X-Men. You're somebody who shouldn't be. And they think that you shouldn't be used to do what it is that you do. Whether out of fear, whether out of tradition, or whether out of the fact that they just don't believe that it should be you. That God does that type of thing. Oh, that's demonic. Or you're a witch. Or you're a this, you're a that. Because you were born with things that are outside of your control. People seem to think that in 2025 that they could still tell you what you're not called to do, and you're supposed to shut down and not do it. Imagine God gives you a gift, and in God giving you this big yellow box with this big gold ribbon on it. It's beautiful, it's glistening, and this box is a gift that came from God. And you take that gift and you allow the people to see it, and then somebody tell you, oh, you can't have that, you got to get that back, we don't believe in that, you can't function like that, you're weird, you're strange, you're different, who are you to get such a gift like that? Or they just don't believe you got it because they just don't want you to have it. Or some of you, you'll open the gift up, play with the gift, start using the gift, and doing what you do in the gift, flowing fluently. And then somebody comes along in 2025 and tell you you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to have it. But God gave you the gift and told you to do it and helps you to use it. It's just like God telling you, I want you to build this business. And in this business, I'm going to give you all of the tools. I'm going to give you everything that you need. Give you the blueprint, dig up the foundation, and you start building on it. Next thing you know, you got a whole building put in place. And you running different offices out of this business. It's a whole big 50-story building with different offices and just global. You gonna shut that business down? Of course you're not. So why would you do that with a gift? The building was a gift. The business was a gift. So how you gonna do it with a gift that God gave you? Because somebody told you what you should not be doing in 2025, when we got all kind of impossible things that shouldn't be being done, that's being done, but you let people tell you what you can't do. This is not the time. This is not the season to be people pleasing and letting people tell you what you should be, could be, cannot do, and things of that nature. You live in a time where you're going to be about the Father's business, on assignment, in agreement with whatever God tells you to do, and not worried about, caught up in, and caring what nobody else say that you can and cannot do. It seems impossible to them, but no matter how impossible it is to them, you better know what God told you to do. Open that gift up, play with it, use it, and be about the Father's business. Once you recognize exactly what it is that you have. And when I say play with it, I mean get to know what it is until you know what it is. Get before the Father and ask God, what is this? If he gave you ability to walk through walls like the X-Men, to set things on fire, to make it out of ice or whatever, turn things into diamonds, whatever, you do it. And of course, I'm not being literal, because even though it's not impossible nowadays, but whatever your gift is, you see, you hear, you know, you smell, you discern, you taste, you touch, no matter how weird, no matter how different, no matter how strange. God called you to preach, you a woman, whatever God tell you to do, it's between you and him. You be faithful with what he called you to do. People don't know your purpose. When God created you, he know what he put inside of you. He knew the plans that he has for you. He know the purpose that you were created and ordained. And there is nothing that anybody could do to stop, block, or hinder what God has called you to do. Because if God called you to do it, when people try to stop you and block you, God got a whole nother avenue. And it don't matter what somebody else say you can't do. God will open doors that no man can shut, and use you in a way so mightily that there's no way you could second guess. You have the power to decide on whether you're going to shut down what God gave you to do, or whether you're going to go forward and be about the Father's business in 2025, when nothing is impossible. Don't you let nobody shut you down and tell you what you cannot do. Be about the Father's business and do what he called you to do. You may not be created to be like everybody else in the family or everybody else around you. He made you different for a reason. Stick to his purpose and his plan. This is Let's Talk Kingdom. Use what God gave you and be a blessing. Light up the world. Be blessed.